to RoseTinted. So today is a very different video for you guys because I'm introducing my second son. So this is going to be my labour and delivery story, but this little monster needs to go and be fed and changed, so I'm going to introduce you to him now, and then his dad will come again and get him ready. So this is Edmund, Robert, Harry, Ross. You gonna say hello? Are you gonna say hello? No? You saying hello? He was born on the 7th of October at 2:38 AM 2020, weighing 6 pounds and 14 ounces. So he was small in comparison to Nicholas. However, he was born prematurely. He was born at 36 weeks gestation. So I'll get into more of that in a moment. But this is little man, and he is absolutely tiny. We are absolutely besotted with him, and I would do the 8 months all over again to have him again. So yes, I will go and give you back to your daddy, honey, and you can go and get something to eat. Yes, I'll trade you for a hot chocolate. I trade you for a hot chocolate. Yeah. Say bye. Say hi and bye. Say hi and bye. So now that I have switched him out for a hot drink, let's get into my labour and delivery story. I have notes here, so if I'm looking down, that will be why. But yeah, so basically I wanted to make this video. If you can hear outside noise, by the way, I do apologise. We live right next door to a sports centre. I wanted to make this video because it was the same as the reason I made the video for Nicholas's birth, which is people are so quick to tell you the horror stories of childbirth, and I have had 2 really positive birth experiences, so I'd like to share them with people, because being a first-time mum especially can be really scary when you don't know what you're in for. So I like to share the positive birth stories to give people a bit of confidence when they're heading in for labour and delivery, because it is a scary time. So without further ado, let's jump into my labour and delivery story with Edmund. So let's start at the beginning. So on Sunday the 4th of October, I phoned triage with back pain, really bad back pain, and I was getting contractions every 5 to 7 minutes, I would say, and this started fairly quickly in the evening. The back pain had been most of the day. We actually went down to visit Spuggy's brother and his fiance, because they've just had a baby. So we went down to visit them, and the back pain was bearable in the morning, and then I would say maybe about 3 o'clock, when we were still in Dundee, the back pain got really bad, and bless, Spuggy's brother actually gave me some like heat pads and stuff like that to try and ease the pain a wee bit, and then the contractions started later that evening. I would say maybe about 6 or 7 o'clock at night. So I phoned triage, and they said to come in at 11 o'clock. So we went to triage at 11 o'clock. Spuggy's parents came to pick up Nicholas, because obviously we couldn't take him. Well, I was really glad that they were allowing Spuggy, my partner, to come in with me. So we went to triage. They did a urine sample, and they hooked me up to monitors and things like that, which one of them counted the baby's heart rate, and the other was counting contractions to kind of monitor them. So basically, the end of that, I had to stay in for the night. Spuggy had to come home. I stayed in overnight, and we found out that I had kidney stones. So I had kidney stones, and I had a urine infection, which is fairly common in pregnancy, but I didn't realise it could cause that much pain, and I was told that the contractions I was having were probably caused by irritation. So Monday morning I got sent home. So Monday the 5th of October, I spent most of the day in bed. Nicholas was still with his grandparents, which was a lifesaver because I didn't sleep much the night before at all. So I slept most of the day, and then I got up, I did some housework, I then went and picked Nicholas up and got Spuggy from work and stuff like that, and just kind of had a normal day. I was on dihydrocodeine, which they had given me enough for the day, and the dihydrocodeine seemed to really work for the back pain, and they gave me an antibiotic for the kidney stones and the urine infection, and then I had to go in and get the kidney stones lasered at some point in order to get them removed, basically. Then Tuesday the 6th of October rolls around, and Tuesday the 6th of October was literally a day in hell for me. So basically, I was labouring on Tuesday, but we didn't know. So it was just back pain, which was probably mainly caused by the kidney stones. So I want to point out that the pain that I was in had something to do with labour, but most of it was the kidney stones, so don't freak out, it's fine. So I had most of the day was just at home with Nicholas. So I played with him, I was popping paracetamol like they were sweets every 4 hours. I was applying deep heat whenever possible. I had heat patches on, I had a beanie on my back. I actually ended up burning my back using the amount of deep heat and stuff like that I was, which, not gonna recommend it. But the pain was that bad for the kidney stones that there was just no shifting it, like no amount of heat was strong enough to remove the pain. So basically I tried to get another prescription of dihydrocodeine, which Spuggy's mum found that you could get from like a pharmacist. So they were going to go and pick some up for me. Unfortunately, the dihydrocodeine with paracetamol in it is the one you get from the pharmacist, and she wasn't willing to give any over because it was obviously going to someone who was pregnant. So I was unable to get dihydrocodeine. However, Spuggy's parents came over, and we decided that the best bet would be to phone triage again. So they decided to take, well actually Spuggy asked if they would take Nicholas for the night, so that we could go in, because they give you like an appointment slot. So our appointment slot was at 10:30, I believe, and his parents came over about between 8:30 and 9. So I phoned triage and I explained that all I wanted was a prescription for dihydrocodeine until I got my appointment to get my kidney stones lasered. So after battling with them for a little while, because through the day I'd phoned the GP and the GP said that I had to phone triage, and triage said I had to phone the GP, and then when it got to the evening I was in that much pain that I just wanted, like I was gonna do battle to get the pain relief. So I phoned triage, I asked them for a prescription for dihydrocodeine. They said that they would have to observe me first, but they didn't see a problem with prescribing that for the kidney stones. So we went into triage at 10:30 on Tuesday the 6th of October, and they put me into like the labour ward with like all the other women, and the pain was starting to come round the front. I would say maybe about 9:30, the pain started to come round the front, and it was very obvious, looking back, it was very obvious that it was contraction pain that I was having at the front, and then it looks like I was perhaps labouring in the back as well. But because of the kidney stones, nobody kind of assumed that it was labour, and I personally didn't recognise it as labour pain because with Nicholas I only laboured at the front. So we went in, and I would say maybe about 11 o'clock they said that they would come back and hook me up to monitors and stuff like that in order to observe everything before they made the prescription. So that was absolutely fine. At 11:15 the midwife came through and she looked at me, and I was starting to wriggle at this point with the pain, and she was like, I think I'd like to examine you first before we hook you up to the machines. So I was like, whatever you have to do to get me the dihydrocodeine for the back pain, like, do it. So she did a vaginal exam, and turns out I was 6 centimetres dilated. So I'd been in active labour for a good couple of hours, because active labour is 4 centimetres and up. So I'd already done 2 centimetres of active labour with no pain relief. So she was like, I can give you pain relief, but you're gonna want something stronger because you're 6 centimetres dilated. So she told Spuggy that he should go and get the hospital bags, he should make any phone calls that he had to make, because I was gonna be taken through to the delivery suite as soon as possible. So I got through to the delivery suite, I got given gas and air straight away, and from this point onwards my entire body relaxed, which sounds really, really daft, but I think it's because I now knew what the pain was. The pain wasn't just kidney stones, it wasn't just a pain that nobody was willing to help with. This was me in labour, and I was getting ready to meet my son. So I did have a little bit of a wobble when they said I was 6 centimetres dilated, because obviously they can't then stop labour that far along. And I was only 36 weeks gestation, which makes Edmund a month early, which is scary when your baby is that early, because you start thinking all sorts, but it was a positive experience, and I'll get on to that. So at 12:45 a.m. I requested some morphine, which is just an injection they give you in your butt, and morphine is amazing. So the morphine and the gas and air was the only pain relief I had, and I was really happy with my choice to have those two as pain relief, because it was the same as Nicholas, and the overall experience was fairly similar to my experience with Nicholas. So although I was contracting every 2 to 3 minutes maybe, and I was obviously progressing, my cervix was dilating, my waters weren't breaking for some reason, and the midwife explained that they were my waters were hanging really low, but for some reason they just weren't popping. So we made the decision at 1:50 a.m. on the 7th of October to break my waters. So she broke the waters in order to create the urge for me to push. So it needed to happen in order for me to get that urge to push baby out. So that was absolutely fine. She broke my waters at 1:50 a.m. There was a lot of amniotic fluid. It sounded like somebody had just finished washing their car and just emptied the bucket. Like, it was insane. So after breaking my waters, we did have to do a full bed change, and I then got the urge to pee. So I went for a pee. Spuggy and the midwife, Jamie, by the way, who was amazing, changed my bedding, and then I got back up and the morphine started to kick in, and the gas and air was working wonders. I was laughing, I was joking, I was chatting. It was actually a really positive experience. I sat and watched some YouTube videos, basically just kind of hung out. Spuggy got coffee and biscuits, which kept him happy. So yeah, that part of labour, from entering the delivery suite until he was born, was probably the happiest I think I'd been since I got pregnant, because this pregnancy, although it was relatively straightforward, it took a toll on my body majorly this time. So I was really happy, dead chuffed, dead chatty, and then at 2:38 a.m. on the 7th of October 2020, Edmund Robert Harry Ross was born. He weighed 6 pounds and 14 ounces, which sounds quite small, but for a baby that was only 36 weeks gestation, he's quite big. He lost 7% of his birth weight, and then he lost a further 1% of his birth weight. He went down to 6 pounds 7, I believe, and now currently at a week old, he now weighs 6 pounds 15. So he's put on weight, which is a great thing. I delivered my placenta about 15 minutes after I got the injection, which was directly after Edmund was born. I got the injection, delivered the placenta about 15 minutes later. That was fairly the same as Nicholas as well. It was quite quick, quite clean, done, whatever. They then do a vaginal examination to see if you've torn, that kind of thing. I had no tears, no grazes, nothing, which meant no stitches, which made me really happy, and it also meant that things afterwards, like going to the bathroom and stuff like that, isn't uncomfortable because there's nothing really wrong with it. We did skin to skin as soon as he was born. I did skin to skin while they delayed the cord clamping, or cutting the cord, and then once they cut the cord, Spuggy did skin to skin, which is a beautiful sight to see. And as soon as I passed Edmund over to Spuggy, I all of a sudden felt the effects of the morphine, and I couldn't keep my eyes open, I couldn't keep my head up. I was aware of everything going around, I was like, I could make sentences and I was making sense, but wow. Wow, I looked like a hot mess. I'll insert a photo actually. In all of the photos of like all of us together, I'm just like that. And at this time, If you guys didn't know, Spuggy actually asked me to marry him. Very smart move to ask a woman while she's drugged up to the eyeballs if she'll marry you. But obviously I said yes, and even after the drugs wore off, the answer was yes, so it's all good. After all of that, I did feed colostrum from the breast, which was the plan from the get-go. And then as soon as I'd done that, and he was dressed and he was settled, I went for a shower, which is the best shower you will ever have in your life, is the one you have after you give birth. To wash your face, to wash your hair, just to feel clean is amazing. I then spent 3 days in hospital. So because Edmund was premature, his glucose levels were dropping, and what else, his temperature, he couldn't keep his temperature at a steady pace. So every 3 hours they would come and prick his heel and take a blood sample and check the glucose levels, and eventually I managed to start feeding him enough to the point where his glucose was climbing, which was amazing, and his temperature started to stabilise as well, which was great. They checked him over for jaundice, they checked his hearing, all that kind of stuff, and eventually the paediatrician, who was absolutely lovely, came round and she was like, I'm gonna let you go home today, which was Friday, which made me really, really happy because it was tough. Spuggy was only allowed a 2-hour visiting slot. Obviously family and friends weren't allowed to come and visit, so you are solely parenting a newborn baby by yourself, and you haven't had like any of the rest or the sleep that you would have had if you could have taken baby home and your partner could have taken over for a bit. So that was tough. Plus I hadn't seen my other son Nicholas for those 3 days because he wasn't allowed to come and visit. Siblings weren't allowed, and obviously when we went into triage, we were only going in for a dehydrocodeine prescription. So when we handed Nicholas over to his grandparents, we thought it would just be for the night. Turns out it was 4 days. But yeah, so overall we got home. Edmund is now putting on weight. He's happy, his temperature is starting to regulate now. We had to keep the house like an oven for the first couple of days, but he's doing really well now. I had a really positive birth experience. The midwife that we had, called Jamie, she was absolutely lovely. She listened to everything I had to say. She was asking me constantly, what would you prefer? Is there anything that you would like would you like more pain relief? What position would you like to give birth in? Would you like skin to skin for you or your partner first? Would your partner like to cut the cord? Like all of these different things. She was just amazing. She was really, really nice, really chatty, which was something that was on my birth preferences, was that I wanted people to keep chatting. I didn't ever want there to be a silence. I wanted it to be chatty, light-hearted, that kind of thing, and she was definitely that. And the other midwife that came in for when Edmund was actually being born was called Heather, and she was lovely as well. She was really good at helping me get his latch correct, which made the world of difference when it came to breastfeeding Edmund this time around. So yeah, I had a really positive birth experience, although the pre-care that I got for this pregnancy was actually really shocking and it was quite bad. The actual care that I received through the NHS for delivery and the aftercare was just incredible. I can't fault them and I can't thank them enough for everything that they did for me and for my baby to get us both home safe, sound and healthy, and that's really all that matters. So yeah, that is my labour and delivery story with Edmund. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that if you are expecting a baby, this has given you a positive spin on childbirth, because it can be tough. It can be really, really tough. But it's worth every second of it, and I'm not about to sit here and say that it's painless, because it absolutely is not. But if you have the right people around you going in and you have yourself in a good mental space, you'll be absolutely fine and you can do anything because your body is incredible. So yes, that is everything I have to share with you guys today. If you guys want to see any more videos from me, then don't forget to press the subscribe button down below. It is free of charge and it helps me out a huge amount. And don't forget to press the bell button as well so that you're notified every time I upload a new video. And until next time guys, bye!